G'day Canada, I'm Leslie Bory. This is our Remembrance Day special on the Brantford News channel. Not too long ago, someone left a comment on a video that I did from the Brantford War Memorial. And they suggested that that our war memorial needs toppling. Yeah. So, pardon my appearance, by the way, I've got a bit of a cold going. But it's hard to talk about it when people shows such a lack of respect for our guys. All right. Now, I always lose elections to people who do things to our soldiers. All right. They send them to wars for the wrong reasons, and then they take away their benefits, and then they make comments in the media as if they show a great deal of respect for these guys, this false respect. And then they hold dinners and events for their victims, all right? They're not genuine people. And that's probably one of the reasons why our nation's in the state that it's in now. Okay. Now, what's of particular interest about this commenter is that they're Zionists. There was a Zionist that said it. And I had to correct this person on another video when he commented there. I had to tell him that not all Jews are Zionists. And I know other people are watching. That's why I made a big deal of pointing that out to him. All right? I had to tell him not to be so racist. Now, if you want to do a lot for our soldiers and our nation and humanity, the best thing you can do is stop us from going to these wars. And the best way to do that is to defund Zionism. Their banking system is what fuels these wars, and basically they're the reason for the wars. They want to control every nation, and they want to install their banking system in these nations. And their banking systems are simple. They charge interest on money that they print out of thin air, but they never create that portion of the equation. So people are given principal. It's been printed for them, so they buy the principal off the bankers for more than it's worth. But they can never pay back all the money that is owed, because imaginary money that doesn't exist is required. It's called interest. All right, folks? So if you want to defund the bankers, install a nationalist banking system in our nation that backs the currency with labor and doesn't charge interest. All right? Now, there's still some people going, even this late date in the game, there are still people that promote the gold standard. Well, folks, how did the gold get here? Labor, all right? So thanks for coming out, you gold standard people, okay? All right, now, an example of Zionism's involvement in our military affairs and their involvement in a lot of suffering was World War I. Halfway through World War I, Germany was kicking ass, okay? They were smoking everybody. They conquered a lot of territory in a war that they didn't even start. When they offered to stop the war in the summer of 1916, bankers kept that war going. And the reason was to dislodge Palestine from the Ottoman Empire. otherwise known as the Turks. And they were on the side of the Germans. The bankers would not let this war end until Zionists were in control of Palestine, which would later be known as Israel. And the Balfour Declaration is the bill of sale for that exchange. And what they did in exchange for Israel or Palestine was they used their influence to get America involved in World War I. So people, everyone that Canada lost in the First World War, and everyone that the Axis powers lost in World War I after the summer of 1916, including all the civilians that were killed, all the merchant marine people died so the Zionists could have Israel. The British government signed the Balfour Declaration and gave them the bill of sale for Palestine. The British were not even in possession of it yet. And if you've seen the movie Lawrence of Arabia, then you'll know that was the theater of war that the British were fighting in. All right, there's examples of them trying to take that land from the Turks and give it to the Zionists. So after 1916, everyone that died in that war on all sides died for Zionism. There's a video showing one of the Rothschilds talking about this deal here. All right? And if you're really interested in looking further into it, there's an audio recording from 1961 from the Wilmot Hotel, I believe it's in Washington, by a gentleman named Benjamin Friedman. He was a former Jew or a Zionist. And he states what I just told you. And he goes into more detail. He's a great speaker. He's far better than I am. Now, the war in Afghanistan cost us some people, all right? And it's always more than we want to see pass, all right? We never want to see one person go, okay? Not one. And it was good of Canadians to send the guys away on those overpasses. All right? But that shouldn't have happened because Israel, and not some guys in a cave who were Muslim, caused those buildings to go down with help from elements in the United States government. All right? So our guys died for another lie by Zionists, okay? And what these Zionists like to do is they like to say that if you're anti-Zionist, you're anti-Semitic. Well, Palestinians are Semites and Zionists kill Palestinians every day. It's just another lie from Zionists, okay? This woman in America, her name sounds like Deborah Shitlips. She says that if we don't believe their story about German cruelty in camps and their intentions to wipe everybody out and the methods they used and the figure that they've spewed out of their assholes, if we don't believe that, we're bad people, all right? Well, we're not. And furthermore, their Zionist media has been pushing the idea that just because we have white skin, most of us Canadians, that we have some sort of a subconscious bias, they call it, or some white privilege, all right, folks? I watched some footage from the provincial election in British Columbia, and they actually asked the candidates about their unconscious bias, and I think it was how they handled their white privilege, okay? And the irony of this whole thing is that the people, the Zionists generally, are white, European, not Semitic Jews, all right? And I had a wonderful person comment after I had an incident or a conversation, we'll call it, that went violent in a park in Toronto. Some Zionist Israeli guy that showed up with a helmet. He looked like the Great Gazoo, all right? He smacked my camera a few times. I thought we were going to go, but it was a non-violent protest. I didn't want to fire things up, but I was pretty mad. All right, if you watch the video on it, you'll see. Now, this person commented, and it was worth the stupidity of it all, just to beat the bushes a bit and get something good to come out, all right? And this lady, who obviously had a Jewish education, all right, she stuck up for Canada. And she said, Mr. Bory, you are not an anti-Semite. You are standing up to bigotry, not espousing it, because I was complaining about the Talmud, the book that says that we're animals in human form meant to serve the people that they call Jews, okay? The Zionists. And there's all kinds of other things. There's a Bill 168, an anti-Semitism bill, which is actually a Jewish supremacy bill. And I'm going to do a pretty good video on that. Will Bouma and I think a lady named Robin Martin, and I don't know if they're both conservatives or not, but I just know Mr. Bouma is, they introduced this bill into the House of Commons. And a lot of groups, including Jewish groups, opposed it. But when I saw independent Jewish voices oppose it, they didn't miss the chance to race bait and to white bash and to say that one of our biggest problems is white supremacy. Maybe if they would have said it was non-Semitic white Jewish supremacy, they might have been a bit more on the money. All right? Anyway, folks, there isn't much to say about what happened with the cenotaph. The guy just said it needed to be toppled. All right? And that was the big insult. And that's pretty much all I've got to say, folks. So if you want to stop our soldiers from getting killed and stop us from killing people that don't deserve to die, then defund Zionism. All right, guys? All right, well, I'm not going to say Happy Remembrance Day. It's not that kind of thing, but let's have a respectful one. And let's remember the sacrifice our guys made. Good day.